online, on digital radio and TV, and on 94.9 FM.
London's radio station.
BBC Radio London.
The time is 18 minutes past 6, and David Cameron is heading to Brussels later to meet European leaders for the first time since the UK voted to leave the EU. He's expected to urge the other 27 leaders and EU institutions to take a constructive approach to negotiations on a new relationship with the UK. Let's speak now to Elizabeth Jones, Deputy Chair of Lambeth UKIP, who campaigned extensively for an out vote in Brixton. Good morning to you, Elizabeth.
Good morning there.
What would you like to see happen now with the negotiations in Europe?
I would like to see, with the negotiations, a fair and reasonable approach. I know we've had some sabre rattling from Juncker demanding that we invoke Article 50 immediately. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Juncker, you may well be the president over there, but you're not the prime minister in this country, and we will take things at a constructive pace that is right for this country and its people.
Do you think honestly about the impact an outvote would have on our political structure?
Did I think honestly? I've been involved in this campaign for the last 6 years. The impact it's had on this political structure, well, that really is more to do with the lack of forward planning, perhaps I would say, by the Conservative Party. I have to say that Corbyn, on the Friday morning when he had the result, his response was to immediately accept that result and ask for an immediate invocation of Article 50.
The Remain vote in Lambeth was 79%, so why didn't your message get through in your area?
Oh, the Remain vote in Lambeth, I understand, was 59%, and I believe the Leave vote was about 41%. So I don't think the difference was that great. I was checking the stats earlier. It's not a question of our vote not necessarily getting... No, I do apologise. That was across London. I do apologise. No, the stats in Lambeth, I think it was about 27%. I do apologise, yes. Lambeth was 27%, Leave. Now, why the message didn't get out? I think the message obviously did get out because, frankly, we were expecting a much lower result. We were expecting around about 10%. So to achieve 27% in an area which is basically described as the most Eurofied area of London, I think is a considerable achievement and involved a huge amount of hard work.
What sort of plan do the Leave campaign actually have in place, Elizabeth?
The plan is obviously to, as I say, negotiate at a pace that is appropriate for this country to achieve the best possible deal with regards to trading agreements with the EU and to ensure that there will be minimum disruption with ongoing trade and with the financial markets. Now, as for a plan, I don't know what plan personally that David Cameron has in place, if indeed he had any. Obviously, he's resigned now. The Cameron, Corbyn seem to have had some form of plan. So I don't know what the plan was that they had. They've not revealed that particularly to us.
And what do you make of the growing number of people who say they're being subjected to racist abuse and told to leave the UK?
I can't possibly comment. I have not seen it. I've not seen any CCTV footage. I don't know if the police are involved. However, the counter to that, obviously, I know that this has been a Remain position. The counter to that, of course, is that many Leave people have had a great deal of abuse, and abuse is not acceptable. Whoever is on the receiving end of it and who's ever doling it out, it's wholly inappropriate. We've got to move forward in a constructive manner so that Britain can have a rosy and richer future.
But, Baroness Warsi believes that this rise in hate crime and racial abuse, over 100 incidents of racial abuse and hate crime were reported since Friday, since the UK voted to leave the European Union. And she believes it's absolutely down to the way that the Brexit campaign was run. What would you say to that?
Well, I would quote Mandy Rice-Davies. Well, she would, wouldn't she? She's not exactly been straightforward in her dealings with the EU referendum campaign. pretending to be part of the Leave campaign, then not being part of the Leave campaign, not giving a clear indication as to where she stands. And, in fact, I think that this is a rather inappropriate approach that she's taking if she is seeking now to sort of stir things up. Now, with regard to all these repeated complaints, I don't know if these are Facebook complaints, are they Twitter complaints, how genuine these complaints are. And as I said earlier, there have been many assaults and unpleasantness and insults toward the Leave campaign as well. But I don't think the Leave campaign necessarily has gone straight to the police about these incidents. We were running a weekly stall in Brixton, and toward the end, things got a bit difficult. And on one occasion, one of our people had his foot stamped on, but he didn't report that to the police. He's been shouted at, had leaflets snatched from his hand, being spoken to in a very aggressive manner. But the immediate course of action was not to go to the police, but simply to sort of try and just keep a low profile, not get involved with the police, knowing that this will pass eventually.
Elizabeth Jones, Deputy Chair of Lambeth UKIP, thank you for your time this morning. It's Nikki Bedi on BBC Radio London.